Hi all, here we are going to discuss about rotational spectroscopy. In the last class we have seen that there are different kinds of spectroscopic techniques. So the absorption of radiation of characteristic frequency in the microwave region can cause transitions between rotational energy levels in gaseous molecule which possess a permanent dipole moment. The resulting spectra are called the rotational spectra or microwave spectra. So, rotational spectroscopy or microwave spectroscopy involves the study of transitions between quantized rotational energy levels of gaseous molecular species induced by the absorption of radiation in the microwave region, that is in the range 1 to 100 centimeter in Vogue. That is the radiation absorption of the radiation in this range cause rotational transitions. Okay, and the rotational spectra are generally studied only for gases. Why? Because for solids and liquids there are no well defined rotational levels in condensed state, and so pure rotational spectra are not obtained. Here is the essential condition for a molecule to be a rotational active or microwave active. The essential condition for a molecule to absorb microwave radiation of a characteristic frequency is that it must have a permanent dipole moment. This is because only such a molecule can generate an electric field during its rotation, which can then interact with the electric component of the microwave radiation. And we can say that rotational spectra are shown only by molecule which possess a permanent dipole moment. Thus, gaseous molecule, polar molecules like HCl, H2O, CO, NO, etc. are rotational active. That is, they give rotational spectra, whereas non-polar molecules like H2, Cl2, N2, CO2, etc. do not give a rotational spectra. They are rotational or microwave inactive molecule. When we discuss the rotational spectroscopy, we consider a molecule as a rigid rotator. Here we are going to derive the energy of a rigid rotator. For finding the energy, we have to derive the expression for moment of inertia of the molecule. So here we are finding the expression for moment of inertia of the molecule. For that, consider a polar diatomic molecule rotating about an axis passing through its center of gravity C. Let M1 and M2 be the masses of the atoms concentrated at the center of gravity, at the points R1 and R2 from C. So that the center of gravity is defined by M1 R1 is equal to M2 R2. Now let R be the equilibrium bond length so that R is equal to R1 plus R2. Now consider the molecule as one in which the mass points are joined by a rigid bar of length R, so that molecule becomes a rigid rotator. Now what is a rigid rotator? A rigid rotator is a molecule which rotates such that its intermolecular bond distance do not change during rotation. We know that moment of inertia I is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. From above two equation, which can be written as I is equal to m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 into r square, which can be written as I is equal to mu r square, where mu is equal to m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2, which is called the reduced mass. For a heteronuclear diatomic molecule regarded as a rigid rotator, rotating about its center of mass, the allowed energies are given by Ej is equal to h square by 8 pi square I into j plus 1 joules, where j is called the rotational quantum number, which can take the values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. But while discussing about the rotational spectra, we are more interested in the energy difference between the two energy levels. So, for a transition from a lower energy to a higher level having rotational quantum number J and J dash respectively, the energy absorbed for this transition delta E is equal to Ej dash minus Ej, that is energy of J dash level minus energy of J level, which can be written as h square by 8 pi square I into j dash into j plus 1 minus h square by 8 pi square I into j plus 1. Again, in rotational spectroscopy, it is the wave number nu bar of the radiation absorbed or emitted as a result of this transition between energy levels that is considered normally. So, it is better to consider the energy in centimeter inverse units. So, by dividing the equation 1 by Hc, we get epsilon j is equal to Ej by Hc, that is h by 8 pi square Ic into j plus 1 centimeter inverse, where this epsilon j is called a rotational term. Again, the epsilon j can be expressed as epsilon j is equal to bj into j plus 1 centimeter inverse. Here, b is called the rotational constant, which is having the expression h by 8 pi square Ic centimeter inverse. So, we can write energy of any level j, Ej is equal to Bhc into j plus 1. So, if we are substituting the values for j, we can get the energy of different energy states. For example, if when j is equal to 0, the energy of that level is Ej equal to 0. When j equal to 1, energy of that state is Ej equal to 2 Bhc. For j equal to 2, energy equal to Ej equal to 6 Bhc. For j equal to 3, energy equal to 12 Bhc, etc. We know that molecules absorb microwave radiation and undergo rotational transitions, and the essential condition for a molecule to be rotational active is that must possess a permanent dipole moment. So, rotational spectroscopy is an absorption spectrum, but all possible rotational transitions are not quantum mechanically allowed transition. So, there is another selection rule that has to be considered. So, according to quantum mechanical principles, the selection rule for rotational transition is that only those rotational transitions in which the rotational quantum number j changes by 1 unit are allowed. All other transitions are forbidden. അതായത് റൊട്ടേഷണൽ ക്വാണ്ടം നമ്പർ ഒന്ന് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന ട്രാൻസിഷൻ, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ജെ ഈക്വൽ ടു 0 ആണെങ്കിൽ 0 to 1 ട്രാൻസിഷൻ പോസിബിൾ ആണ്. 1 നിന്ന് 2 അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 1 നിന്ന് തിരിച്ച് 0 ഇത്തരം ട്രാൻസിഷൻസ് മാത്രമേ അലൗഡ് ആവുള്ളൂ. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് only those rotational transitions in which the rotational quantum number j changes by 1 unit are allowed. All other transitions are forbidden. Hence, we can express the rotational selection rule as delta j is equal to plus or minus 1. Plus 1 for absorption and minus 1 for emission. Let's see what is the wave number associated with a rotational transition.
So epsilon j is equal to bj into j plus 1, and we know that both epsilon and wave number have same dimensions. So we can write the wave number for the transition between adjacent levels j and j plus 1. We can write epsilon j plus 1 minus epsilon j. So which is equal to bj plus 1 into j plus 2 minus bj into j plus 1. And finally we get nu bar is equal to, for the transition between j and j plus 1 level, nu bar is equal to 2b into j plus 1 centimeter inverse. Now we have to substitute the values for j. For the transition between 0 and 1, we get nu bar equal to 2b. For transition between 1 and 2 levels, it's 4b. Next between 2 and 3, it's 6b, then 8b, 10b, etc. This is the schematic representation of different rotational levels and corresponding energies. So, for the difference between 0 to 1, j equal to 0 and j equal to 1 level is 2b. That between 1 and 2 is 4b, and between 2 and 3 it is 6b, then 8b, 10b, etc. So, if a molecule absorbs an energy corresponding to 2b, then it will excite from j equal to 0 level to 1, and if it absorbs 4b energy, 1 to 2 transition occurs, then it 6b absorbs, then 2 to 3 excitement occurs, and so on. So the rotational spectra is a rotational spectrum of a rigid diatomic molecule will contain a series of equispaced lines such that delta nu bar equal to 2b. So we can say that the difference between two consecutive lines in a rotational spectrum is 2b. Now let's see the applications of microwave spectroscopy. From the rotational spectrum of a polar molecule, the moments of inertia and the bond lengths can be calculated. Now let's see how to determine the moment of inertia and bond lengths. We know that rotational spectrum of a diatomic molecule consists of equispaced lines, and the difference between consecutive line is equal to delta nu is equal to 2b. So the half of this space gives the rotational constant b. And we have v is equal to h by 8 pi square ic, from which moment of inertia I is equal to h by 8 pi square bc. Also we know that I equal to mu r square, where r is the bond length and mu is the reduced mass, where mu is equal to m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2. Now here is the relation between the actual mass m1 and the atomic mass capital M of the atoms. So actual mass is equal to atomic mass m1 divided by n0, where n0 is the Avogadro number. Similarly for m2, the actual mass equal to atomic mass m2 divided by n0. So the relation between reduced mass and the atomic mass of the atoms are mu is equal to m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into n0. Therefore the bond length r can be written as r is equal to root of I divided by mu, that is moment of inertia divided by reduced mass. Thus, if we know the spacing between the spectral lines of a rotational spectra, we can calculate the moment of inertia using the equation B, and from this calculated value of moment of inertia I and the reduced mass, we can calculate the bond length R of the molecule. So these are the two applications of microwave spectra. That is, first one is the determination of moment of inertia and determination of the bond length. That's all about rotational spectroscopy.